Some love stories make you smile. Some make you cry. But every once in a while, a love story comes along that makes you believe, truly believe that real, deep, soul-shaking love actually exists in this world. Outlander is that story. This is not your average romance. This is not flowers and candlelit dinners. This is to people who would cross oceans, walk through time, and give up everything just to be with each other. And today, we're going to revisit the moments that made millions of people around the world pause, catch their breath, and feel something they had never felt watching a TV show before. These are the most romantic scenes of all time, from Outlander on STARZ. And if you have never cried watching a love story on television, just wait. By the end of this video, that changes today. Asterisk, there are hundreds of romance stories on television. Hundreds of couples that writers try to make us care about. But most of them fade away the moment the credits roll. You forget their names. You forget their faces. You move on. Jamie Fraser and Claire Randall are not that kind of couple. These two characters have lived inside the hearts of their fans for years, and the reason is simple. Their love does not feel like acting. It does not feel like a script. It feels like something real, something raw, something that was always meant to happen, no matter what the world threw in the way. Outlander first arrived on our screens in 2014, based on Diana Gabaldon's beloved book series. From the very first episode, audiences knew this show was something different. It was set in the Scottish Highlands in the 1700s. It had history, action, 8 stunning landscapes, but at its beating heart, it was always a love story. A love story between a strong, independent woman named Claire, who was a nurse during World War II, and a brave, loyal Scottish warrior named Jamie Fraser, who protected her with every single breath in his body. What makes their story stand apart from every other romance on television is the fact that their love was never easy. It was never safe. Every single time they found happiness, something tried to take it away. Time itself tried to keep them apart. War tried to separate them. Loss tried to break them. And yet they always found their way back to each other. That is the kind of love that does not just entertain you. It transforms you. It makes you look at your own life and ask yourself, have I ever loved someone like that? Has anyone ever loved me like that? The scenes we are going to walk through today are not just romantic because they are beautifully filmed, though they absolutely are. They are romantic because every single moment feels earned. You feel the weight of everything these two characters have been through. You feel the years of pain and waiting and longing behind every single touch, every single word, every single look they share. And that is why Outlander does not just tell a love story. It makes you live inside one. So settle in, because we're about to take you through the moments that made this show not just a great romance, but one of the greatest love stories ever told on screen. Asterisk, picture this. You are a woman from the future. You have been pulled back in time against your will. You are surrounded by strangers in a land you do not fully understand, facing dangers you never imagined possible. And then to protect you, a man you have only just met agrees to marry you. Not because he has to, not because someone forced him, but because he looks at you and decides right then and there that your safety matters more to him than anything else in his world. That is exactly where Jamie and Claire begin. And that beginning, that one single night, became one of the most talked about, most rewatched, most deeply felt scenes in the entire history of television romance. What makes the wedding night scene so powerful is not just what happens between them physically. It is everything that surrounds it. The nervousness in Jamie's eyes. The way he is honest with Claire about the fact that he has never done this before. The way he does not try to hide his vulnerability behind toughness or pride. He sits with her, he talks with her, he makes her feel safe, and in doing so, he does something that very few men in stories like this ever do. He gives her the power to set the pace. He gives her the choice. And in a time period where women had almost no choices at all. That one gesture from Jamie Fraser said everything about the kind of man he was. Claire, on the other hand, is carrying her own weight in this scene. She is not free. She still has feelings tied to another time, another life, another man waiting for her somewhere she cannot reach. And yet something happens in that room between her and Jamie that she did not expect. Something honest, something tender, something that plants the very first seed of a love so deep it will define the rest of both of their lives. You can see the exact moment it begins, not in a dramatic kiss or a grand declaration, but in a quiet look. A look that says, "I see you, and I am not afraid of what I see." The writing in this scene is careful and thoughtful. The direction is soft and warm. But what truly makes it unforgettable is the chemistry between the two. Actors, Sam Heughan and Catriona Balfe. There is a reason audiences around the world lost their minds over these two. Every glance, every nervous laugh, every gentle touch in that wedding night scene felt completely and totally real. It did not feel rehearsed. It did not feel performed. It felt like two people discovering each other for the very first time, which is exactly what it was. And that feeling, that rare and beautiful feeling of watching two people truly connect on screen. Something that most shows spend years trying to create. Outlander found it on night one. Asterisk, close your eyes for a second and think about the person you love most in this world. Now imagine losing them. Not to a fight, not to a breakup, but to time itself. Imagine being ripped apart by history, by war, by forces so much bigger than both of you that no amount of love could stop it from happening. Imagine spending 20 years waking up every single morning knowing they are out there somewhere. In another century, living a life you will never be part of. 20 years of silence, 20 years of wondering, 20 years of carrying a love so heavy it never lets you breathe all the way. Now imagine the door opens, and there they are. That is exactly what happens in the printer shop reunion scene. And nothing on television has ever come close to touching. This scene arrives in season 3 of Outlander, and it had fans waiting for it. From the moment Claire stepped back through the stones at the end of season 2, the build-up alone was enough to make people's hearts hurt. Audiences had watched Jamie and Claire sacrifice everything to keep each other safe. They had watched Claire go back to the future, raise their daughter alone, live an entire life, all while carrying Jamie Fraser in her chest like an open wound that never fully healed. And Jamie, on his side of time, had done the same. He had survived battles, imprisonment, loss, and heartbreak. And still, every single day, he carried her. So when Claire finally walks back through that door in Edinburgh, into that small print shop where Jamie is working, the weight of everything that moment means is almost too much to hold. What makes this reunion so uniquely powerful is the way it is played. There is no immediate rush into each other's arms. There is no perfectly timed speech. Jamie sees her and he faints. He actually faints. And that one completely human, completely unplanned reaction says more about the depth of his love than any words ever could. Because this man, this warrior who has survived things that would break most people, is so overwhelmed by the sight of her that his body simply cannot hold it together. When he comes back around and they are finally face to face, the emotion that pours out of both of them is so raw and so honest that it stops feeling like a scene from a television show. It starts feeling like something you are not supposed to be watching. Something too private, too real. It's too deeply personal for an audience to witness. The conversation that follows is soft and stumbling, and full of nervous laughter and long silences. They keep touching each other's faces like they cannot quite believe the other one is real. Like maybe if they blink too hard, the moment will disappear and they will be alone again. Jamie whispers her name like it is the first word he has ever truly meant. Claire holds his face in her hands like she is afraid he will vanish. And in that quiet, trembling space between two people who have loved each other across 20 years and 2 centuries, something extraordinary happens. They find each other again. Not just the people they were, but the people they have become. And they choose each other all over again without a single moment of hesitation. That is not just romance. That is the kind of love that rewrites what you believe is possible. Asterisk, there is a moment in every great love story where words stop being just words, where something is said so simply, so quietly, so completely from the soul that it cuts right through you and settles somewhere deep inside your chest where you carry it forever. Most love stories spend entire seasons building toward that moment. Outlander delivers it like a punch you never saw coming. No grand music swelling in the background. No perfect lighting. No rehearsed speech prepared in advance. Just a man looking at the woman he loves more than his own life and saying the only truth he has ever been completely sure of. I will find you. I will always find you. And the entire world watching stopped breathing at the exact same time. What makes this vow so different from every other romantic declaration ever put on screen is the fact that Jamie means it in a way that defies all logic. He is not just saying he will look for her. He is saying it knowing full well that time, distance, war, and death itself may stand between them. He is saying it as a fact, as something as certain as the sun rising, as something that has already been decided by a force much greater than either of them. And Claire, who is a practical woman, a woman of science, a woman who deals in reality and reason, believes him. Not because it makes sense, but because when Jamie Fraser looks at you and speaks, every part of you understands that this man has never said anything. He did not mean with everything he had inside him. The scene itself is wrapped in desperation. They are being pulled apart again by circumstances neither of them chose. The urgency is real. The danger is real. And yet in the middle of all that chaos and fear and heartbreak, Jamie finds a still, quiet place inside himself, and he speaks from it. He does not panic. He does not crumble. He holds her face, he looks into her eyes, and he gives her the only thing he has left to give in that moment, his word. And his word, as anyone who has followed this story knows, is worth more than anything else in any century. Because Jamie Fraser has never once made a promise he did not keep. So when he says he will find her, you believe it. You feel it in your bones. And that feeling does not leave you when the scene ends. What this moment also does brilliantly is flip the traditional idea of a romantic vow completely on its head. We are used to seeing love declared in moments of safety and warmth, at weddings, under stars, in quiet rooms where nothing is at risk. But Jamie makes this vow in a moment of absolute loss. He is giving her up. He is letting her go. He is sending her away to protect her, and he is doing it while his heart is being torn out of his chest. That is what makes it so devastatingly romantic. Because it is not love that asks for something in return. It is love that gives everything and expects nothing back. It is love that says your life matters more than my happiness. Your safety means more to me than having you beside me. Go, be safe, live, and I will spend every breath I have left finding my way back to you. That is not just romance. That is the highest, purest, most selfless form of love that any story has ever dared to put into words. Asterisk, nobody warns you about this scene. Nobody sits you down beforehand and tells you to prepare yourself. You think you are ready because you have watched this show long enough to know that Jamie and Claire's love always comes with pain attached to it. You think your heart has already been broken enough times by these two people that it cannot possibly break any further. And then this scene arrives, quiet, slow, again completely without mercy, and it reaches inside your chest and pulls out something you did not even know was still left in there. The goodbye at the Stones is not just the most heartbreaking scene in Outlander. It is one of the most heartbreaking scenes ever committed to film. And the extraordinary thing about it is that it destroys you not with drama, but with stillness. The setup alone carries the weight of everything. Jamie and Claire have fought so hard to stay together. They have survived things that should have ended them a dozen times over. And now, standing at the edge of the Stones, those ancient Legman, merciless stones that started everything, they are faced with the cruelest kind of goodbye. Not the kind where you are angry, not the kind where you have given up, but the kind where you love each other completely and absolutely. And with every single cell in your body, and you still have to let go. Because love, real love, sometimes asks you to put the other person's survival above your own need to hold them close. And Jamie Fraser has always understood that better than anyone. What tears you completely apart in this scene is the way Jamie refuses to make it about himself. He is the one staying behind. He is the one who will not have a future. He is the one walking back toward a battlefield he may never walk away from. And yet every word he speaks, every touch he gives, every look he holds for just a moment too long, it is all for her. He is not falling apart in front of her because he does not want her last memory of him to be his grief. He wants her to remember him the way he truly is, strong, steady, certain of his love, and completely at peace with the sacrifice he is making. He places his hand on her belly where their child is growing, and he speaks to that unborn life with such gentleness that something inside simply gives way, and you cannot hold yourself together any longer. Claire, on the other hand, carries a different kind of devastation in this scene. She is not just losing her husband, she is losing the world she chose. She chose the past. She chose Scotland. She chose Jamie over her own time, her own safety, her own certainty. And now she is being sent back to a future that no longer feels like home because home stopped being a place. The moment she fell in love with Jamie Fraser, home became a person. And that person is standing in front of her for the last time, holding her hands, burning her face into his memory, memorizing the color of her eyes and the sound of her voice so he can carry it with him into whatever comes next. The last moment they share before she steps through, the way their fingers hold and then slowly, painfully release, is so human and so honest that it does not feel like acting at all. It feels like a real goodbye, the kind that changes a person forever. And that is exactly why this scene does not just make you cry. It makes you grieve. Asterisk, there is a reason you are still here. There is a reason you sat through every single one of these scenes and felt every single one of them in a place that goes deeper than just entertainment. It is because somewhere inside this story, inside these two people and the impossible, unbreakable, completely unreasonable love they have for each other, you recognize something true. Maybe it is something you have felt before. Maybe it is something you are still waiting to feel. Maybe it is something you lost and have been quietly hoping to find again ever since. Whatever it is, Outlander found it inside you and pulled it straight to the surface. And that is not something every story gets to do. That is not something most stories even try to do. But Jamie and Claire have never done anything halfway. What Diana Gabaldon created when she first put these two characters on the page was not just a romance. It was an argument. A powerful, beautifully written argument that love, real love, is not soft or comfortable or convenient. It does not arrive at the right time or fit neatly into the life you already planned. Real love is disruptive. It is demanding. It asks you to be braver than you thought you were capable of being. It asks you to give up things you were certain you could never live without. It asks you to walk into the unknown with nothing but another person's hand in yours and trust, completely and without guarantee that it will be enough. Jamie and Claire answered that call every single time, through centuries, through wars, through loss and grief and separation that would have ended any ordinary love story in the first chapter. They kept answering it, and that is why we keep coming back. The scenes we walked through today are not just great television moments. They are reminders. Reminders that vulnerability is not weakness. It is the only door that love can walk through. Reminders that the most romantic thing one person can ever do for another is choose them. Not once. Not when it is easy, but over and over again in the moments when walking away would be so much simpler. Jamie Fraser chose Claire in a cold room on their wedding night when he had every reason to keep his walls up. Claire chose Jamie in a print shop in Edinburgh after 20 years of living without him. They chose each other at the Stones when the entire world was trying to pull them apart. And every single time they made that choice, something in the audience recognized it. Because deep down, in the quietest and most honest part of who we are, that is exactly the kind of love every single one of us is looking for. So if this video reminded you of why you fell in love with this show, or if it introduced you to Outlander for the very first time and something about it is already pulling at you, then do not ignore that feeling. That feeling knows something. And if you want to keep exploring the stories, the scenes, and the moments that make television worth watching, okay, then hit that subscribe button right now, because we do this every single week. Drop a comment below and tell us which scene hit you the hardest today. Was it the wedding night? The print shop? The stones? Tell us, because this community is full of people who feel exactly what you feel. Give this video a like if Outlander has ever made you cry at least once. And if you have never seen this show before, consider this your sign. Some love stories are worth every single tear they cost you. Jamie and Claire Fraser are worth every single one.